Listen, my people, and gather close. Let me tell you a story, not from the ancient times, but from a time much like our own. It is a story about a mother's heart, a daughter's obedience, and the heavy price of greed. This is a story that the wind whispers through the tall grasses in the village, a story that reminds us that the ground on which we walk sees everything, and the sky above hears every secret. Life sometimes pushes the weak to the edge, but when desperation drives a heart, it can turn even a mother's love into a weapon. In a small village surrounded by palm trees and red earth, there lived a woman named Mama Ada, a single mother of 4. She had struggled all her life to raise her children, 3 beautiful daughters, Ada, Amara, and Chiamaka, and a son, Chidi. Life was not fair to her. Her husband died when her youngest was still sucking breast. Years passed. She tilled the soil, sold roasted corn by the roadside, and fetched water for others just to feed her family. Yet poverty clung to her like a shadow. Her eldest daughter Ada was a gentle teenage girl, beautiful, respectful, and full of dreams. She often said, "Mama, one day I'll finish school and take care of you." But Mama Ada would only sigh. Dreams didn't fill stomachs. Then one day, fate knocked, not softly, but with a heavy hand. A certain man, Chief Jacobs, returned from America to the nearby town. He was wealthy, his skin glowed, his cars sparkled, and his house was the talk of the entire village. He was 65 years old, but his pockets were young. Rumor had it, his wife in America could not bear children, and he wanted one last chance to have heirs before his time passed. When Chief Jacobs saw young Ada at the village market, something in his eyes lit up. He asked questions. He found out she was Mama Ada's daughter. 2 days later, he visited their home with gifts, bags of rice, wrappers, drinks, and a brown envelope filled with money. "Madame," he said, "I want your daughter. I'll make her my wife and give her a good life. I'll take her to the city, put her in a fine house, and she'll never know poverty again." Ada's eyes widened in fear. "Mama, I don't want to marry him," she whispered when they were alone. "He's old enough to be my grandfather. I still want to finish school." But Mama Ada was blinded, not by love, but by hunger and dreams of comfort. "Do you think school will feed us?" she snapped. "Do you think this kind of opportunity comes twice? This man will lift this family out of shame. Sometimes we must sacrifice one for the rest to live." That night, Ada cried silently. Her younger siblings slept beside her, unaware that the next morning would change everything. When dawn broke, the bride price was paid, secretly, quickly, and fully eaten by Mama Ada alone. She didn't share with anyone, not even her husband's family, nor her own family. She felt her time to enjoy had come. A week later, Chief Jacobs came with his convoy and carried Ada to the city. But she didn't go alone. Her mother insisted all her siblings should follow to help her settle. In truth, Mama Ada saw it as a chance to escape poverty completely, while the whispers in the village grew into murmurs of disapproval. The city dazzled them. Tall buildings, bright lights, smooth roads. Chief Jacobs took them to a 4-bedroom bungalow in a quiet part of town. Everything was new. Furniture, curtains, a television bigger than the village window. Ada's siblings were amazed, but Ada's heart was heavy. The man she called husband treated her kindly, but she felt trapped. Her laughter was gone. Months rolled into years.
Ada became a mother of 3, 2 boys and a girl. Chief Jacobs adored the children. He sent Ada's siblings to school and also sent money regularly to cater for his kids and made sure they lacked nothing, while he spent long hours talking about his business trips. Then one day, he told Ada he would be traveling back to America to see his first wife. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll be back soon." But soon turned into years. Ada raised her children alone in the big house, while her siblings had grown used to city life. Her mother, however, had started feeling forgotten in the village. So one afternoon, she appeared at the bungalow gate, her wrapper dusty, her face older but her eyes still sharp. "My daughter," she said proudly, "you have done well for yourself. Your husband is rich, your children are healthy. It's time for me to also enjoy city life with you." Ada welcomed her warmly at first, but that visit would soon become the start of another story, a darker one. My people, they say when a poor man touches money for the first time, it can either build him or destroy him. Months had turned into years since Ada's husband, Chief Jacobs, traveled to America. He sent money every month, money that could feed a family for a lifetime. And Ada, together with her mother, began to enjoy a life she never dreamed possible.
At first, Mama Ada was quiet and helpful around the house. She played with her grandchildren, cooked sometimes, and told stories at night. But soon, her eyes began to open, not to the goodness around her, but to the wealth that surrounded her daughter. One evening, she sat beside Ada on the balcony, fanning herself lazily. "Ada," she began, "that man of yours, he is rich beyond measure. Do you know how much he's sending you every month?" Ada smiled faintly. "Enough for me and the children, Mama. I keep the rest safe." "Safe?" Mama Ada laughed, her gold teeth glinting. "Safe for who? For him? That old man who left you here? My daughter, open your eyes. A man in America can easily forget his wife in Africa. You'd better start using his money wisely before another woman claims it." Ada stared at her mother, unsure how to respond, but the seed had been planted. Soon, the two began to scheme. Mama Ada would often say, "Let's buy land, let's build houses, let's invest, but all in your name." Before long, plots of land were purchased. 2 houses were under construction. They even started a small shop in Ada's name, all funded by the money Chief Jacobs sent for family upkeep. But while they were busy acquiring properties, one person was suffering silently: great-grandmother, the mother of Mama Ada, left behind in the village. She was old, frail, and nearly blind. Villagers often pitied her, wondering how her daughter and granddaughter could live in plenty while she lived in pain. One day, the village women gathered courage and delegated 2 women among them to visit Mama Ada in the city. "Madam," they said, "you must come for your mother. She is too old to live alone. Bring her to the city. Let her see her great-grandchildren before her eyes close forever." At first, Mama Ada frowned. She said coldly, "I don't have time. I'm too busy." But the pressure grew until she gave in. She traveled to the village and returned with the old woman, great-grandmother, whose smile, though weak, lit up the entire house. "Ah, my daughter," the old woman said, touching Ada's cheek. "I have missed you all." But the happiness didn't last. Within a week, Mama Ada grew tired of her mother's presence. She complained endlessly about the smell of her herbal ointments, her slow walking, her constant prayers. "This house is not an old people's home," she grumbled. So one night, while Ada was feeding her children, Mama Ada whispered her wicked plan. "We can't keep her here," she said. "She's too demanding. People will start thinking we're servants to an old woman.
Let's take her to the new building site, that one that's not yet completed. She can stay there. We'll bring her food from time to time. Ada hesitated. But Mama, that place has no windows, no door. It's cold at night. Will you argue with me? Have you forgotten how I suffered to raise you? She snapped. If you can't obey, I'll leave this house and take my blessings with me.
Ada felt silent. And so, the next morning, they carried the old woman to the uncompleted building. They left her there with an old mat, a torn blanket, and a promise to visit. Days turned into weeks. The poor woman endured cold nights, mosquitoes, and hunger. She survived only on leftover food that Ada's children secretly brought her at intervals. Still, the old woman never cursed them. She only prayed. God, forgive them, she murmured weakly one night. Open their eyes before it's too late. But her prayers turned to silence. One cold morning, a neighbor passing by saw her lying still, her body lifeless, her lips frozen in peace. The neighbors rushed to tell the family. When Ada heard the news, her face went pale. "Mama, she's gone," she whispered. Mama Ada shrugged. Well, she was old. It was bound to happen sooner or later. They carried the corpse to the mortuary, and while burial plans were being made, Ada's heart began to feel uneasy. Something deep inside her whispered that they had done wrong, terribly wrong. Her husband, Chief Jacobs, heard the news all the way from America. Saddened, he sent a huge sum of money, enough to take care of the burial, feed the villagers, and even hire an ambulance to carry the old woman's body home. But greed doesn't sleep. When the elders called Ada and her mother to perform the simple traditional rituals before moving the body, they refused. "All those customs are a waste of time," Mama Ada said proudly. "We'll handle the burial our own way." Little did they know, their journey had already been written by fate, and it would end in tears. My people, when a tree grows crooked from the roots, it will never stand straight even when it grows tall. The evil choices we make in secret often bloom in public shame. After the death of great-grandma, Mama Ada and her daughter Ada continued their plans for the burial. The mortuary bills were rising, but Chief Jacobs, the son-in-law in America, sent enough money to cover everything. He sent so much that the family members in the village were shocked. They said, "This man truly has a good heart. May God bless him." But Mama Ada's heart had turned into a stone of greed. Instead of using the money for the burial, she kept most of it for herself. "Why should we waste so much money on a dead woman?" she told Ada. "We'll manage. Let's use what's left to finish our building." Her words sounded wise, but carried darkness. The elders called again. "Before you bring the body home," they said, "perform the rites for the ancestors. It is our custom. Without it, misfortune may follow the journey." But Mama Ada laughed. These village people and their backward ways. Let's just take the body home and bury it. Ada, who once had a soft heart, had grown proud and cold. She followed her mother's decision. 2 days before the burial, they loaded everything: the coffin, the drinks, food items, and other burial supplies onto an old pickup truck. Instead of hiring the ambulance that her husband's money could easily afford, they decided to use the pickup to save cost. They placed the coffin of great-grandma at the back of the truck, and to make space, stacked crates of drinks and sacks of rice on top of the coffin. Ada sat beside her mother in front, while 3 church members joined the ride to help. The morning was bright. The sky was clear.
Even nature seemed calm, too calm. As the truck rolled out of the city, laughter filled the air. God is good, Mama Ada shouted. Yes, Mama, after this burial we'll have peace. But fate was already watching. Barely 10 kilometers from the city, as they drove along a narrow, winding road, a large truck loaded with cement appeared from the opposite side. The driver of their pickup tried to avoid a pothole, but one of the back tires burst. Pa! The pickup lost control. Within seconds, it skidded off the road, somersaulted twice, and crashed into a ditch. The sound echoed through the valley like thunder. When the dust settled, people ran from nearby houses to the scene. What they saw broke hearts. The coffin had shattered, spilling the old woman's remains on the road. The crates of drinks and sacks of rice scattered across the ground. The driver, Ada and Mamada, lay lifeless, their bodies crushed by the same goods they had placed above the coffin.
The 3 church members survived, bruised but alive. They stood by the wreck, crying uncontrollably. One of them, trembling, whispered, "This is not an ordinary accident. It's the hand of God." Word spread like wildfire. People in the city and the village heard of the tragedy. When Chief Jacobs received the news in America, he was speechless. He sat for hours, staring at nothing. After some days, he arranged to bring his 3 children to America, away from the shadow of sorrow that had consumed their family. The burial finally took place. Quiet, painful, and humble. Villagers whispered the same words again and again. When the living forget the dead will not sleep in peace. And so ended the story of a mother whose greed destroyed everything she ever loved. Ada's beauty could not save her. Mama Ada's cunning could not protect her. All their wealth, lands, and houses became empty shells. Remember that money gained through wickedness never brings peace. Moral of the story: a mother's love should protect, not profit. Greed is a silent poison. It kills before it's noticed. Never abandon the hands that once fed you, for the curse of neglect is heavier than gold. My people, let us remember wealth without conscience is like fire in dry grass. It burns everything, including the one